Hello everybody, it's Mimi. Welcome to the video. If you're into some Reddit drama with chill Minecraft gameplay, you're in the right place. Also, if you like these stories, go ahead and hit subscribe. That way you can keep coming back, you never miss out on anything, and I can keep making content for you. With all that said, lay back, grab yourself a drink, a blankie, and just chill with me. Today I'm going to be reading to you the craziest Reddit cheating stories, so buckle up. Alright, so the first story comes from r/cheating stories. What is your wildest cheating story, whether you witnessed it or experienced it? So we're reading Kiara231's today. My ex was a serial cheater. Caught him multiple times, but I was so convinced if I loved him hard enough, he'd change. Cringe. Escalated to these two women showing up at our house or my job, looking for him. Some gloating about their relationships with him. This lasted a single week. I'll run back to this. X and I were very active, if you know what I mean, up to 3 times a day. All of a sudden, he wouldn't go near me. Oh, that's a red flag. All of a sudden, like, where is he getting it from, right? It was so weird because normally if I said no, I'd be the riot act. And I still stayed. Cringe. He vehemently refused to do the do with me, which was nice. Don't get me wrong, but so abnormal. He's like, oh, he's not touching me anymore, but like now he's just, he's staying away from me. So I'm like, it's good, but it's like weird. So she's picked up on it, even though she's like okay with it a little bit. He then asked me if I can start sleeping in the guest room because he drools a lot. Huh? Wow. That goes on for a solid month. He's not leaving the house as much. He's not blowing up as much. Not hitting the bar like he used to. And I'm just so confused. One morning, there's a ton of knocking on my door. So this is all confusing. It's my ex's best friend's brother's girlfriend. Wow, that is a mouthful. She looked so rough and upset, so we sit on our porch and talk, and she asks how much of a hit my relationship with my ex has taken. I tell her how he's completely closed himself off and we don't even sleep in the same bed anymore, but I don't know why or what happened. She starts having a panic attack and calls her boyfriend. She starts scream crying that I probably have it, and I'm like, whoa, what is happening? Have what? Turns out the women who were harassing me that week were not just sleeping with my boyfriend, but were also supplying him with drugs. My ex, his best friend, bestie's brother, and girlfriend were all sharing utensils one night with these two women. Oh, there was all of them did something together. I can't say because it's YouTube, so... But there was something that happened between all of them at some point, and they all contracted hepatitis. Guys, by the way, I am reading these stories, like this is the first time I've read this, so I'm literally like sitting here by my monitor reading this. This is so hilarious, so I'm like just as surprised. If you're surprised, I'm surprised. So all of them did the do with each other. Her boyfriend, his best friend, and his best friend's brother all did the do and all got hepatitis. That is horrendous. I about threw up after hearing everything laid out. I ran. I immediately got tested for everything. Luckily, from previous employment, I am vaccinated Hep B. Although that was the worst time of my life, his distance and coldness at that time is one of the only things I'll give him credit for. The woman who had hepatitis knew she had it. She actually died not too long after. That is insane. That is genuinely insane. So let me get this straight. Your man all of a sudden started acting hella distant towards you because what? He was doing the do with other women, and one of the women that showed up at your work to harass you ended up being a woman who had hepatitis and gave it to all of your husband's friends. So 4 people caught hepatitis from the same lady. That is insane, and honestly, karma. I mean, if you're running around and you're cheating, you're just really risking it. We have another one by Cash number 7. So I was dating a guy who was friends with one of my best friends. Him and I broke up, then Brittany effed him. Ooh. And I found out. Anywho, fast forward 3 months, those two got caught being together downtown, and her and I found out he's been having a relationship with both of us the last 3 months and effed us on same days, took us to the same spots, etc. Funny part is they actually got married and have a kid. Good for her for being able to look past it, I guess. It's not a healthy relationship. She's abusive and he's emotionally abusive. I'd like to think I've won out of the whole deal. Honestly, yeah. I just want to know, like, if you knew he was messing with her at that point, like how that all went down, but we don't get much detail in that. But the fact that they're married, that's insane. Because just think about what their arguments are about. Like, do you think that they bring up this Redditor's name, like, in their arguments, like, all the time? Like, I don't know how they could be married with that huge cheating scandal. And first of all, I don't know why Brittany doesn't just, like, stand up. Like, girl, stand up. Why are you still with this dude? You're married to this guy. You have a kid with him? That's insane. That's insane. That could never be me. That could never be me. Okay, the next one we have is from Junebug604. They're talking about their ex from 2017. Dated him, and his best friend got jealous immediately and slept with him multiple times. Oh, we're starting off strong. Even called me on his phone in the middle of doing it. That's insane. That's actually insane. I didn't stay to listen, just hung up and told him to call me in the morning. He told me I was too clingy. We haven't spoken 3 days. Wow. He said I was being unreasonably jealous. I never experienced any sort of jealousy. I always allowed him to do anything, as long as he texts me when he's going to sleep and has woken up. I just wanted to know he was safe. It's not that bad. Like, if you're in a relationship and someone's like, hey, just let me know you're, like, alive and just text me, or, like, tell me good night or tell me good morning. You can do whatever you want. I feel like that's pretty laid back. I don't get why, and I'm not saying it's okay to be clingy, because it gets to a point where it's just too much. You gotta, like, separate yourself from your partner, but, like, a little bit of clinginess is okay. You're gonna have to expect that in a relationship, because at the end of the day, a relationship is about emotions and feelings, and people are gonna want to be close to you. Like, your partner's gonna want to be close to you. Your partner's gonna want to hug you and touch you and spend time with you when they can. Just sending a good morning or good night text is really the bare minimum that this girl is asking for. Okay, let's get back into it. He said his best friend had a bad feeling about me. Ironic. Wow. That is some, like, next level manipulation. That is crazy. We broke up. He hooked up with his best friend for 2 days, then they broke up the following week, because his best friend just didn't see him in that way. I was removed from his life, and his friend all of a sudden no longer liked him romantically. Asked for us to date again. I said I don't date stupid and blocked him. Girl, good for you. So, like I said, the whole manipulation thing, his best friend slowly slithered into the relationship, poisoned him against her, had the audacity to then date him for 2 days, and then she was bored. But I bet you the moment he gets a new girlfriend, she will be back around. It's gonna be like that, they can never be me type of vibe. That is awful. Honestly, I feel really bad that, you know, a lot of people go through this where they're, like, with somebody who just genuinely does not care about them. Like, at all. How are you not gonna text back? You're in a committed relationship with someone. Do not get in a relationship with someone if you can't at least text them back. It doesn't have to be right away. It doesn't have to be a bunch of lovey-dovey, you know? Nothing like that. Just at least acknowledge them, because that's what a relationship is about. You're supposed to acknowledge each other and be there for each other. I scrolled down, and this Redditor has another ex from 2018, and it says murder attempt, so I'm gonna read it. I know this was about cheating, but, like, okay, let's get into it. Only dated him for 2.5 weeks, but he was cheating after a week of dating. I said he was fine to keep cheating, but do not act surprised if he doesn't see me again. What do you mean he's okay to keep cheating? Like, what? I would just leave immediately. I'd be gone yesterday. 16 days into us dating, I sent him a text at the same time. We're done. Don't call me. Apparently, he didn't register it until we went a whole month. No contact. Now, that's weird. Like, if you're going an entire month of not hearing from your suspected girlfriend or boyfriend, you're not in a relationship, and I don't care what anybody says. Actually, there's nuance to that, because there's people who go to the military and, like, go on training and stuff, so Never mind. Never mind, forget that. Forget I said that. But like if you're not in the military or you have like no travel job or anything like that, like if you can go outside and see this person at like work or school or something, then like going no contact is like absolutely atrocious. He hits me up to ask me if we could go out and get some dinner. He missed his sweetheart and wanted to apologize to me for not giving me enough attention. Yeah, okay. I said we had not been partners since I caught him cheating the second time, which was about a month ago from when he reached out again. He cried on call, texted me, please, 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 on repeat, when I refused to answer his calls. Told me I was making a mistake because he loves me and I was everything to him. This guy he may seem like he's a master manipulator, but he is not. That is the most basic, manipulation take I think I've ever heard in my life. I told him to cry somewhere else. He threatened to unalive me and successfully stabbed me. Oh my gosh. When I was on a college campus, another student saw and called for help. Campus police took me to hospital, got stitches, recovered, got a restraining order. He tried to tell me that I did it to myself because I shouldn't have made him act like that. So, he said this at prison, right? Like on a prison phone call? You're telling me nothing happened? Oh, okay. It looks like she talks about it. And because he was white and had daddy's money, he didn't get any jail time, even though he stabbed me with the intent to kill me. He also did not listen to the restraining order and tracked me down a month later. He left a bruise from tightly grabbing my wrist and forearm, but I broke his arm and gave his family jewels a taste of my foot. Police came to my door within a few hours, and I told them about the restraining order and showed them my bruise. They dismissed themselves from the doorsteps and sent me to a court summons instead. Went to court, told them again about the restraining order, and showed them a few photos of my bruise. By that time, I no longer had the bruise. His parents said I sought out revenge. He had a fractured forearm and a fracture down there, and I had a quote-unquote small bruise. I stood there with the most confused face until the judge dismissed the case in possible disbelief. I didn't get sued, yay. Never saw him again, and started seeing someone else a few months later, doing much better now. I remember this event the most because it gave me PTSD, and I wish it wasn't real. Girl, I wish it wasn't real for you either. Just glad I'm not dating a cheater currently. Love my silly partner. You're glad that you're not dating a cheater. I'm glad you're alive. Like, I'm gonna tell you something like that a lot of people just dismiss, especially ladies. Like, listen up, ladies and men. If a man is stalking you, if a man is blowing your phone up, if a man is cheating on you, if a man is showing any type of like insecurity, if a girl is cheating on you, if she is manipulating you, if she's blowing your phone up, or she's stalking you, those are signs of a violent person. Distance yourself immediately. I know restraining orders are just a piece of paper, but it's the first step in line of defense in keeping yourself safe and your family. I can't tell you how many countless stories I have heard of ex-partners being super aggressive and taking matters into their own hands. I have heard stories about partners like offing their ex and their family. I don't know, like a while back there was a TikTok of a girl running and crying to the police because her crazy ex walked into her family's home and offed her entire family. Okay, so I pulled up an incident that happened in Northampton County, Pennsylvania in September of 2023. So this was 2 years ago. A 17-year-old suspect was arrested for a double homicide of his girlfriend, Rhianna Lynn Glass, 16 years old, and her mother, Rosalind Sybil Glass, 39 years old. He allegedly unalived before stealing their car and crashing it. Like I said, there are people out there that exhibit the most horrendous signs that a lot of people just don't pick up on. So y'all have got to stay safe. Alright, this next one is by the Redditor Glittering Reply Dr. RN. I was the love of his life. He used to look at me like I held the world in my hands. He would tell me that I was beautiful and that I was wonderful, and we got along so well together. He was my friend and he was my everything. That is a very sad introduction. I gave him 2 children, and after the birth of our first child, I started getting sick and having problems with numbness and other issues. After our second child, I started having more issues. We were married for 20 years when my 16-year-old son caught him online talking to women, and then later, my 20-year-old son at the time caught him talking to women online. Both of them brought their findings to me. That's crazy, the kids found it. Like the absolute epitome of your relationship and your love. The manifestation, your children found that. That is awful. We thought we had reconciled and worked on our marriage, but I guess we hadn't done enough. I got sicker and ended up in the wheelchair. The stress was crazy. I developed MS, multiple sclerosis. I could not imagine the pain that, not only inside and like emotionally, but like physically. That is awful. Oh, I don't want to read this next part. I already read the first line. Then he began having physical affairs with women. The first physical affair he had, he nearly got pew-pewed in the parking lot at our local grocery store with a married woman, and her husband caught them. Her children were in the car, and she and my husband were in the state of undress in his car. You can imagine. Wow. She left her children in the car while getting it on with your husband in his car. That is insane. Not only for like them to just be doing it in the parking lot of a grocery store. Like, seriously? But to leave the kids in the car like that. And I know those kids knew what was going on. She could have at least told them to like go into the like grocery store or something. That's insane. I decided on a post-nuptial agreement to protect our assets as he was spending money on these women. His second physical affair, which was the last one, it never really got started. He called me and told me that he had to go on a trip to our state for a conference and had to take with him his intern, who called herself his work wife. Oh my God. I had never heard that term before until this happened. Wow. It kind of upset me. I refused to allow him to carpool and sleep in the same hotel with that woman and pursued divorce. I threw away all of his things I could get my hands on and started a fire. Bowling balls didn't burn, by the way. My neighbors, my cousin, the sheriff, and ex-boyfriend, the fire chief, were watching me. Burned it to dust. This must be like a small town kind of vibe, Everybody's just pulling up, and the sheriff and the firefighters, and they're just like, yep, let her be. His newest AP, the intern, moved him out at the time of our divorce. Actually, her husband and my ex, because I refused to let her in the house. Her hubby left her because the whole time he was helping, I was telling him my ex was cheating with his wife. She had a husband as well. It's just always the case, huh? It's just always the case. They either always have a wife and kids, or a husband and kids, loving family, and then they're both like mutually cheating on each other. And that's the thing. That's why this cheating really took place. Like, if you think about it, when people cheat, they both come together and they both connect over something. And that connection was, hey, I have a husband that I'm not getting along with anymore. You have a wife who's dying from an illness and your kids are grown. That's how a lot of cheating scandals happen. Usually people have a boyfriend or a girlfriend because it makes them feel justified in what they're doing. This is awful to read because I could not imagine, slowly losing control of my body, and the moment that I can't, give myself to my husband, he goes and finds a way. And that way is not me. Once she's been pushed to a point where her body cannot physically give him the physical part of the relationship that he wanted, he went and found it somewhere else. And that is just absolutely heart-wrenching. I took a second retirement, all of our savings, and the house. You go, girl. And I'm not saying this is definitely not the number one reason to not cheat on your husband or wife, but at the end of the day, besides your loving, beautiful relationship you may have with your husband or wife, when you get married, that is a contract, okay? So when you own assets, or when you own, a shared bank account, okay, if you guys leave each other, you have to split that down the middle. Now, it's not always down the middle, okay? It is not always down the middle. Sometimes it is you get to take 10% and he or she gets to take the rest of it. Like, that's another thing to remember, since people want to get married so, like, left and right and very easily. It's 100%. You need to, like, really think about what you're doing. It's a big, 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 big decision to make if you're going to get married. Our next one is from the Redditor Far Too Sedonic. Let's get into it. I'm a gay guy. I was in a relationship with my ex for around 5 years when I discovered he was cheating with all people but a religious school teacher. Interesting. Stupidly, I forgave him and thought we could work it out. I was seeing a psychiatrist and I was on antidepressants. I thought everything was good and I eventually got off antidepressants. There was a friend of ours that was very supportive, would listen to me when I needed to vent and gave me a lot of great advice, or so I thought. I then discovered he was also cheating with his so-called friend. As soon as I found out about the other guy, I ended the relationship and kicked my ex out. Looking back, there were so many red flags, but as I say, live and learn. It's been 14 years and I've never been in a relationship since, and I never will be. That's sad. I get it though, like, I totally get it. Sometimes, like, these relationships genuinely just alter our brain chemistry. Like, we get to a point where we're just, like, so fed up. And I was there for a good while, so I totally get it. I'm really sad that he's not going to give it another chance though, because I feel like there's someone out there for everyone, like everyone. But I do also feel like some people are meant to be alone. Like, they get to a point in their life where they're just like, choose me, go on vacation, and oh, my kids are grown up, or oh, I don't have any kids, so I can just, like, relax, because a relationship is a lot. You gotta put trust in another person. You have to give them attention. You have to water and nurture your relationship, and there's days where you're not going to want to do that. You're not going to want to talk, or you're not going to want to spend time with them, or they're being too clingy. It just gets to a point where it becomes a lot for people. I totally get it. Alright, so next story is by the Redditor New Girl 222. I'm 27 years old. I've been working in education as soon as I graduated from high school as a special education instructional aide. For the first few years, I only had female teachers that I worked with. 2 years ago, I was assigned to a new teacher who was male and only 2 years older than me. I immediately had attraction to him. Girl, don't do it. And an innocent crush, but always kept things professional. Okay, that's good. That's good. It's okay to have a crush, but just kind of like, if you're going to date somebody where you work, be careful, okay? Because if that goes wrong, it's so awkward and everybody gossips. It's just like high school sometimes. It does depend on where you work, but seriously, if you're going to date somebody where you work, please be careful about it. Like, really, 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 like, take things slow. Get to know the person first. Not so much on a romantic level, and then, like, kind of, like, go from there, like. And I will tell you something. I've done it. I think a lot of people in here have done it. Like, dating somebody at work is just not, it's not for everybody. And the number one thing you should look out for if you're considering it is, if you work with that person, watch how they work. That deeply reflects who they are. But let's get back to the story. After a few months of having a professional relationship, he started inviting me to have lunch with him and get drinks after work, because we would have really stressful days with our students. He never once brought up a partner, and I never asked anyone I worked with about their personal life, unless they felt comfortable sharing freely. The next few months, we slowly started getting closer and started texting and calling often. The next school year, we were hanging out after work 3 times a week, and on Fridays, past midnight sometimes. I genuinely really started liking him and thinking about a relationship. Eventually, one night, he made the first move and we hooked up. It was great. And we continued doing the do and going out after work, even to lunch, on some weekends for about 3 months. One day, I went with a friend to her local Costco, which was far away from my city. As we were walking around the corner, I ran into the teacher with a group of people. As soon as I seen him, I could see his face was shocked and all the blood drained from his face, white as a ghost. His mom, who I recognized because she had brought school supplies for our students and books, waved at me. I naturally walked up and he stood frozen. I said hello, and there was another young woman next to him. He said, "This is my girlfriend," to which the girlfriend said, "Actually, fiance." And the teacher laughed and said he had just recently proposed. I, shocked, just said it was nice to meet her and left. He never said anything to me. I never said anything to him. I felt disgusted. I went back to work for 3 weeks while waiting to see if I got approved for a transfer to a different school. I've never seen him again. That is awful. That is absolutely awful. His mom had no idea. Him and the teacher aide were like doing the do. So she just waved. She's just like, "Hey, what's up?" You know, and like having a good time in Costco. I genuinely feel so bad for his fiance, and I wish that this Redditor had the chance to tell her, but like, I'm sure she was so deeply, deeply shocked and embarrassed that she didn't want to say anything. I also hope that his fiance found out and that she left him on the street where he belongs and moved on. Okay, so this next Reddit story is a more in-depth one. It is by Scotty Audi Scotty. So, that is the Redditor's name. And we're just gonna go ahead and get into it. I cheated on the love of my life. How do I move forward? I don't really know where to post this, but I don't really have anyone to talk about this with. And if this is only supposed to be for people who have cheated on, I'm sorry if it's wrong to post this here. I had the love of my life and I threw it away because of my own insecurity. We were a couple of months into our relationship. We were exclusive. Well, this girl handed me a note while I was out working with her phone number and some comment about my appearance on it. Nothing like this had ever happened to me before. Being approached and noticed and wanted. I've always been so fundamentally insecure about my looks, my voice, my body, my personality. Everything. It felt good to be wanted superficially, so we texted and quickly met up. Because of my head, I was so sure my relationship would end anyway. Why wouldn't it? Every good thing in my life ended that way, taken away from me. Why not just get a head start on the next thing? I first picked her up. We walked around this Japanese market and I dropped her off. Then we met up again and she came over and we watched a show on my couch and cozied up for a bit. But then there was this overwhelming sense of just how wrong this was. So after that, I picked her up for a third time, drove around, explained to her why I couldn't keep doing this, dropped her off, and blocked her. We never did the do, we didn't kiss, and we didn't hold hands. I'm not trying to justify this at not cheating or anything. I'm not trying to say this was okay because of how I felt about myself. I was committed to my girlfriend and betrayed her profoundly. You did. And I think that having a conversation with her about it, like communicating this to her, is the best option for you because at the end of the day, you did not go through with it. You were on the couch, okay? And that could have gone 2 ways and you chose the right path, okay? Now getting there, that was the wrong path, but you chose a better path that was the best choice for you in your relationship. So you can communicate that to her and it's her choice whether or not she still wants to be with you. We were broken up already when I told her. We were having a great conversation up to the point, laughing and sharing and just being friends again. And then she started asking about my lies in the relationship. I could have lied again, but in the month and a half we had been apart, I've genuinely been trying to work on myself because I was truly a horrible boyfriend, even besides that disgusting decision I made. But sometimes I just hold my head and wish I did lie. It almost seemed like we were in a place where we could have gotten back together, but how could we do that on a foundation of betrayal, unbeknownst to her? I never told her about the cheating until this moment, over 2 years later, not to mention me lying about going to therapy, which I needed and need, but don't have money for, as well as talking to girls on Snapchat. She started sobbing, quickly hung up, blocked me on everything. I know she hates me. I know she's gone forever. I know that this was my decision, and now I have to live with it. My own insecurity led to the result I was insecure about in the first place, and it's killing me. Insecurity is just its own beast. If you're insecure, it will destroy everything in your life. I mean, insecurity can be the root cause of a lot of issues in people's lives. Let's get back to it. I don't understand how to move forward. Now I'm always a cheater. Once a cheater, always a cheater. And it isn't right for me to just wallow and suffer and cry about that fact. So he noticed that his own insecurities is what caused this. But he's basically repeating that thought process with saying once a cheater, always a cheater. Because now for the rest of his life, when he says that to himself, he's going to think he's a cheater. When in fact, people cheat for the craziest reasons. And yes, it's wrong, and some people make mistakes, but putting yourself in that category is just another negative thought process that's going to hinder your future relationship. And it isn't right for me to just wallow and suffer and cry at the fact that I would betray and hurt and traumatize the one person who mattered to me. Because I was wanted. I was noticed. I was committed to a girl who loved me for me. And I said to her with my actions that you aren't good enough. I need more. I need someone else. I need to be sure you'll be the next for when you finally realize how undeserving I am of your love. But now that she's gone forever, I realize, no, she was all I needed. All I want is to hear from her. Help her through the hurt I caused. I know I'm the one who cheated, but I don't feel like I'm the same person I was 2 years ago when I did it, or even a month and a half ago from when we broke up. All I've ever done is think about myself. Now all I can think about is her and her hurt. This sweet girl who loved me unconditionally. All she wanted was to be loved in the same way I decided to betray her. I know for her own sake she can never forgive me. Can I forgive myself eventually? Can I accept I made this decision and be okay with the result? How can I make sure this never happens again? I'm going to be able to work more now, and I'm searching out for a therapist at the moment that I can afford. Until then, can you guys give me advice? Thank you. And I'm sorry to the people I've hurt and all of you who have been hurt by people like me. Please ask me anything. There's a lot I didn't share because this post is already as long enough as it is. Consider me an open book. I'd say the number one piece of advice, though, that I could give him besides going to therapy would be to have more faith in yourself. Like, trust yourself that you're not going to cheat. Because, again, like I said, the whole saying that once a cheater, always a cheater, that is not true. That is not true. There's people out there who have cheated their whole lives, and then they meet somebody and they're like, oh my God, I genuinely care about you. I genuinely love you, and I want to make this work. And then there's people out there who have never cheated, and then all of a sudden, one day, one random relationship later, they cheat. Somebody could cheat because they watched the sunset with an individual that they don't even know. You know what I mean? Like, cheating has so much nuance to it, and it is not right. I am not saying it's right. It is never right. Do not cheat. The best course of action is to sit down with your partner and be like, hey, I'm having thoughts about this, or I'm not feeling the way I used to feel with you, and you break up. And sure, you're going to see that person feel hurt, but they would be way more hurt if you cheat on them. Because at the end of the day, you're not in your partner's mind. You don't know how emotionally invested they are in you. With him asking, can he forgive himself eventually? I think so. I think it'll take time, and I think that truly, him to truly forgive himself is if he does have a new relationship and he sees how much he nurtures it and makes it prosper, and he has therapy and he is thankful for his relationship. You know, he won't do that. She may have been the love of his life, but clearly there was something wrong going on in his mind, the insecurity, that he needed to work on. Because you could be with someone you love so deeply, but if there is a war in your mind and you're deeply insecure, insecurity can just absolutely destroy that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this last story. Man, it was really something. Also, don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you want more content like this. My name is Mimi, and it was a pleasure reading stories to you today. Mimi out.